Hey, folks, welcome back from for what for us turned out to be a long weekend. Visited with my beloved mom. She's still here visiting, and then we also had a visit from our son last night. Blake, good to have you here. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we drove from Nanaimo into Victoria. Dropped the kid off. He's old now. He's like 30 something.
33.
Anyway, whatever. And then we had to run him back, and then we had to run our asses back here. But we're back in time to run a show. We got a lot of news to cover. It's amazing what's going on in our world right now. Big story out of Minnesota. A former aide, former alleged aide, or somebody that graduated from a program sponsored by Tim Walz, the failed vice presidential nominee under the Kamala Harris. Thank God we dodged that bullet, pardon the pun. But a lot of people are showing a picture of a guy and a girl, and it's not him. And a lot of MAGA people are saying, "Hey, this guy is MAGA," and I don't think he is. But by the same token, I don't think he's like a far leftist either. I think the truth is somewhere in there. So I've got the Data Republican, a great account that kind of does some deep dives to come up with the theory. But my friend Herc, liberal hero Herc, has messaged me on Instagram with a clip of the guy. So I'm just going to share this clip from my Instagram of the alleged shooter guy. There's a lot that doesn't make sense with this story, and I gotta. There it is.
Mind in their soul.
Et l'ennemi est entré dans le fond de leur pensée et de leur âme.
But this word
Mais cette parole
cuts deeper
va aux profondeurs.
because it's living.
Et l'ennemi,
The devil
le diable,
comes through
et il est venu au travers d'eux.
and rips everything apart.
Et il a volé, il a détruit toutes choses.
The churches are so messed up.
Les églises sont vraiment en désastre.
Yikes.
They don't know abortion is wrong, many churches. So there's no sin
Et il n'y a aucun péché
that God can't take care
que
of.
Dieu ne peut pas enlever.
Okay, so he's obviously it looks like he's in the Dominion Republic for this sort of thing. I want to thank Eric for getting that information to us because, again, a lot of stuff from our side of the aisle is identifying the guy as an extreme liberal kind of thing. He did gun down. But there's a lot of anomalies. There's a lot of questions, a lot of stuff that's kind of people just left scratching their heads. One of them, he's a married guy with 5 kids. The wife is caught traveling in a car with a passport. She has all sorts of documentation, money,
Guns.
stuff. They capture her. She hasn't been interviewed. We haven't heard from one word out of her. He's also got a boyfriend or a Papa John's pizza delivery boy, house boyfriend. I don't know. And he's got that. So he's living there. He's got a mansion, but he's living with Pizza Boy. Well, that's kind of strange. And then the Democrat that he killed, her and her husband, was the one Democrat that voted against like this funding the immigrants kind of thing. So it's kind of like, oh, well, why would a Democrat want to kill this lovely Democrat that seems to be lining up with Republican ideas? Yeah. So that's kind of idea.
He was mad.
Have you seen Cory Booker? I have no interest in Cory Booker whatsoever. I just put him under fake news. But I want to cover this link that I have. Sue, can you grab the one that I dropped in for you called... well, I want to make sure I got the right one. I know you're all fast, you're on top of everything, and you're like a goddess. But it's entitled "The Shooter." Okay, you see the bottom one where it says "Shooter"?
Yep.
Is that the one you got queued up?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Sue. All right, let's take a look. This is Data Republican, small r. You aren't going to like this post, and he's speaking to people like you and me, Blake, conservative people. But it needs to be said about Vance Bolter, the accused in this shooting incident. At first, I assumed Bolter was just another grifter in the NGO activist space. He built a fake resume, fluttered around volunteer gigs, and set up a shell organizations, plural, for clout, political clout, raise his profile. His, quote, Red Lion Group has no real paper trail. His side business and security services looks like a cash grab. But the more I dug, the more different it looks. Bolter was a 7-Eleven manager, not Papa John's, where his roommate, apparently, his alleged roommate lived, but a 7-Eleven manager. He constantly promoted himself as a corporate executive. He claims the title doctor based on an education degree in leadership. Okay, that would be a diploma. That wouldn't be a degree. In leadership, you get a diploma for that. He chased every opportunity to get in front of an audience, volunteered for Governor Walt's workforce development initiative, speaking at conferences, anything to be seen as a leader. And in videos of him in African churches, you see him light up. He's performing. He's preaching vague, positive platitudes to foreign audiences. They got the French interpreter for whatever the fuck he's up to. He wanted to be somebody. He wanted to be followed. There's good reason to believe that James Hartline is right. He was remodeling that building below into a church, not to serve Jesus, but as a stage for an audience that would never come. I think he's a man addicted to attention and status, tried to get it through a lot of means. When that attention dried up, possibly whoever cut off his funding in the Congo, he was down in the Belgian Congo, he snapped. As a theory. This is all theoretical, right? Full disclosure, this is just theory. I believe Vance Bolter committed violence as a last desperate attempt to be glorified under the delusion that killing abortion rights activists would make him a martyr or hero. This is not Christianity. I watched his sermons. They were designed to provoke an emotional applause, not spiritual conviction. His actions contradict the standard Jesus gave us to recognize false prophets. By their fruits you will know them, Matthew 17:20. I love that. Bolter bore no good fruit, just narcissism, manipulation, ultimately violence. He wasn't an evangelical or MAGA. He was a man who couldn't stand being ordinary. So, a kind of an interesting theory. There's nothing but theory about this guy, but a lot of questions about it. And a lot of questions about him. So, Blake, any thoughts about this particular individual and the incident in Minnesota?
Well, I think that in typical fashion, people want to jump to conclusions right off the bat. And because we are in a hyper-partisan world at the moment, everybody's feelings are always sensitive. I would say let the law go through its process, get all the details before anybody passes judgment. And essentially,
there's a lot going on. Sorry to interrupt. My brother just showed up. He's come to pick up Mom. And so we've had a big family weekend and stuff. We just love this. Is my new show, Bruce. It's called The Ghost Town Politics with my co-host, Blake McKenzie. And we just talk about the incredible, of course, we love our First Nations, by gum, so many good things are happening in that way. And we celebrate the renaming of a street in Vancouver. Trent Street is no longer Trent Street, but it's Anyway, fantastic stuff. There he is, Bruce, everybody. Holy, so I love you, buddy. You come visit again here. I love him. We got a show to run. You're on the air. We're on the air now. I should have a little sign. All right. Bless you. Come by and drop by. We'll have fun. I will. All right. I love you. Mom, I love you. I got to give my mom a hug. Hey, Blake, so finish your thought. What about this shooting? Who's the guy? What's going on? I'll go off for a bit while you do this. Say goodbye to Mom and everything.
Okay.
Hang tight, buddy.
See you in a minute. Yeah, essentially, I think that in a lot of these circumstances, we just need to let the process of what's happened go through its investigative side before anyone jumps to conclusions. But, there's all kinds of theories that are rolling out there. I've heard people say, well, we were expecting a false flag, that something would be done, a conspiracy to paint the MAGA movement negative at this time, right at the weekend when the No Kings rallies were being organized by Democrats in all the different cities. But yeah, essentially, we just have to wait and see what transpires with this homicide, because that's what it is. I do like to point out, though, I mean, there's been plenty of other attacks on politicians that tend to go, media wise, at least in the mainstream media, go one direction. We think about the DC shooting of Republican congressional members who ended up having dodged bullets and were saved at the last minute. And the media, of course, some of them got wounded. It was terrifying circumstances. But again, just showing that the media downplayed it, made it sound like, oh, it was just a crazy shooter. Well, and I think that's essentially how we have to look at all these situations. Were they crazy shooters, or do we go into the conspiratorial realm? Was this an asset? Was this person influenced in some way? There's some questions that are, as Rachel mentioned, standing the passport. Somehow he escaped, from the police in a shootout.
We're hearing a lot from Pizza Boy, but we're hearing nothing from the wife who was caught with the passports and the money.
Yeah.
It looked like she was headed to Canada, that there may have been a rendezvous point predetermined. Then there was talk of a manifesto. They said there is a manifesto, but there's not enough in it to be even worried about. So don't worry about the manifesto. Now, today, breaking news is suggesting that there's no manifesto at all. So we got a manifesto. We don't have a manifesto. He's clearly premeditated. They're charging him with second-degree murder, non-premeditated, and yet he's got his hit list and he's traveling around the people's houses. Then he's got the No Kings flyers in the car, and apparently he had a No Kings sticker on the vehicle as well, stuck on there. Was he trying to act like, or pin the blame on the Democrats and act like he was a Democrat when he was really some sort of Republican? A lot of this stuff is just, fortunately, in a rare case, they caught this idiot alive. And so now they got to put the screws to him and find out exactly what was going on. So all the smoke of confusion and contradictions and questions can all be put to bed, and justice can be served. Holy smoke. Sue, get Rachel. You know what? I think it's just it's optical illusion. Hang on. We'll get out of the plats, okay? Get out of the plats. I think the shoulders are okay. Ankle. Got this. Look at this. I got a gray and black motif going to play.
Looks great.
Just fantastic. I got Ingram, like the Ingram part of the vinyl community.
Looks like you're all ready to head down to the Duke Saloon.
Holy shit, I'm ready to have a beer, I tell you. But it's going to get all chubby. Can't have it. So many stories to get into today, but that's one of the biggest ones. Again, I want to say thank you, Herc. That's a good point. At this point, I agree with you, but I really do like that a Republican, that this guy was a very confused individual with a lot of crossings. I guess his wife also went through this Tim Waltz School of Broadcasting or whatever the hell he had, some program, and she was all part of that as well. So there's a lot of craziness. Ricardo Jimenez, me love, and I love the way you phrase it. It's all for our newcomers, don't always speak English fluently, but we can all understand whatever our language may be. Me am love. Me am love you. Me love political recal bibi del fantasma politico vacdo. Muchas gracias. Te amo siempre, mi amigo Ricardo Jimenez. All right, that's fantastic. Okay, I got one here, Blake. We're still following all the activities with these riots that have been happening. You've heard about them. You read the book. Let's take a look. This one is this is kind of interesting. This is from a couple of days ago. Because I had company and so I didn't have the luxury to do what I normally do. But I'm going to put this up, see if I can play it on my thing. Sue has just rejoined me. But, well, hold on, Rach. Let's slow it down a bit. I'm getting too fast. Stop
I can
sharing.
hold up a link if you want.
Well, okay.
Which one do you want?
The one, hang on there, little gopher. Hang on. What have I called this one? LA Reason for the Riots. The Reason for the Riots. Laura Logan, the first link in our private chat today. And we'll get this for the kids. Anyway, yeah, I'm working out, Blake, and I found I was getting a little chilly, even though it's summer. And so I figured if I got a long sleeve and then put the little top, and then I'd be warm. And by gum, it seems to be working. So I want to read the comment, then we'll zoom in and listen, gentlemen. Laura Logan, of course, Laura Logan famously attacked by a whole gang of thugs. You remember that story? Horrible story over in the Middle East. She was a journalist for 60 Minutes or something like that. But anyway, hallelujah. Finally, people are talking about this. You wonder why California has so many seats in the House? This, my friend, is why. Scroll up, make them big, screen, and let's hear them. Okay, focus and Sheldra.
Do you want to know what all this craziness in LA is really about? The riots, the organized protests, and the current chaos unfolding in the sanctuary city known as Los Angeles? Well, it's not organic, and it's definitely not random. It's actually a calculated move by the leftist ruling class to protect the one thing that keeps them in power: census-based political control. You see, House seats and electoral votes aren't based on how many citizens live in a state, just how many people are counted in that state, and that includes illegal aliens. They are counted as well. So when over 10 million plus flood across the border into blue states like New York and California over the last 4 years, it's not about compassion, it's about math. More bodies equals more power in Congress. But now, mass deportations and people fleeing these blue states are threatening that math. For every 740,000 illegal aliens that are deported from a blue state is one congressional seat in 2030. And if that trend continues, the DNC just doesn't lose votes, they lose control, and likely for good. This is why they would burn a city down like LA to stop Trump. This is why we're seeing the panic. Media hysteria to stop deportations, state-level obstruction to protect population counts, protests and riots like we're seeing in LA designed to bait the feds and flip the narrative. This was never about human rights or compassion. They don't care about you. They don't care about your safety. They only care about control and power. It's political survival, and the census is the real battlefield. Let me know what you think in the comments and hit that follow.
All right, really good comments there. I thought it was well-reasoned, rational, lacking hyperbole. Just do the math. He's going by the numbers. So the census is a problem. Chuck T echoing that comment saying, yes, the census should not count illegals. And of course, when you do, then of course it does add to the body count for you. So you're a more powerful state. You get more representation in the Electoral College. And of course, the Electoral College was so critically important when Trump won the first election, is that they were all expecting, they got the Hillary with the popular vote. They figure, oh, this is a shoo-in. We got this thing wrapped up. But Trump strategized with his advisors, and they went for the electoral house. And of course, this caused an absolute outcry and outrage that the Electoral College has got to go, and it's no longer, it's outmoded, it's obsolete. We don't need it in America, blah, 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 leftist talking point. What do you think about this man's rationale? Any criticisms of it? Do you agree with it? What's your take?
Well, I think for the hardcore, the party brass thinks like that, so that's your leadership side of these political parties do this. This isn't anything new. This is something that's been done for a long time. I mean, we've had that history here in Canada as well. Like literally they're digging up graves for votes. But the term gerrymandering came from this process, moving borders around for voting districts to add in more. As you get more bodies, you can design the borders of your electoral areas to be more favorable to your party. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that there is some panic because that demographic is being shifted away from Democratic voting centers. And as people are fleeing or they're being deported as illegal aliens, then that's the inevitable action. No wonder they want everybody to just be, welcomed in and automatically amnestied, much like Reagan did in the 1980s. He did an amnesty. I'm sure there's lots of push for that, just for that voting bloc to come in there. But yeah, it's I mean, nothing's new. They completely always try to find a way to skirt the rules. And just your mention about the Electoral College, most people don't even understand its purpose, right? And I think that's the problem. The whole idea of that, mob rule is the way we should run under a democratic process is not the case. The U.S. was built on a constitutional republic. It's a republic, not a democracy. Democracy is a tool to vote. That's it. But you are protected both from the tyranny of the majority and the tyranny of a minority. So you are protected individually, and the states are given special protections as well from those overloaded states. Like Rhode Island has 2 senators, just like California gets 2 senators. But there's those that believe that that's not fair and that's not representative. So that's every time you hear people, oh, Trump's going to destroy democracy. Well, he's not destroying democracy. He's upholding constitutional republic.
He's supporting,
he's bringing it back. So that's what these guys are against. And I think these people hate the idea that there's a constitution standing in their way from absolute dominance through mob rule. Mob rule will collapse.
This is why I say within the secular framework. I mean, obviously, as Christians, we believe God is the world. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. So we're all happy with Jesus. But the point is that within just in the secular framework, removing God from the thing, which is crazy to do, but just for the sake of argument, this is why the Americans represent the world's one and only hope. The one and only hope is the United States of America, because every other Western democracy has fallen. It's been co-opted and successfully by the Chinese. Canada, where you and I were talking on Thursday about these British Columbia ferry contract going to the Communist Party of China, a shipyard that is owned in part or in large measure by the Chinese Communist government. What the actual fuck? That's a problem for me. So, and it's a problem for you. I know we're in absolute in agreement on this.
100%.
So, but America, with their constitution, grants rights to the individual, and because of that, it's the strongest nation on the planet from a populist perspective. You can squash it in Canada. You can lock up the truckers. You can enact a war emergency, but you cannot do so successfully in the United States.
Yeah.
Too big a battle. Even though they're trying to erode America and defeat America from within, they aren't successful. And on that note, we have some positive news. We got some U.S. aid news. Link number 2. This broke again over the weekend, or while I was away. I think this came out on Friday. USA could have had one more extra intellectual. Oh, you fools. Yeah, I mean, this argument about getting rid of the migrants and some of the arguments, they could be like you got Michael Moore going, he could be a rocket scientist. Yeah, well, but we have to deal with the raping and pillaging of the other 20
first,
before we get to Einstein. So
yeah.
I don't think Einstein's worth it, given that context. I'm not a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some good news coming out of the USA. Looks like USAID, Liz Crokin, the wonderful Liz Crokin, looks like USAID official Roderick Watson will be singing like a bird as part of his plea deal. Love it. And down goes the USAID house of cards scheme involving over $550 million in contracts. 2 companies admit criminal liability for bribery scheme and securities fraud. And then scroll under General Mike Flynn's got a quote under there. Get Watson to talk. Who were his superiors all the way up the chain? Who directed this outrageous theft of U.S. taxpayer dollars? And Sue, if you could be so kind and you got AG Pam Bondi in there at Pam Bondi, go check this thing out. Drop the link in there. In the discussion, but the point is, they got a name. They've got the USAID, and it wasn't just him, but I believe 2 other USAID officials were also charged and convicted. So you got kind of the double thing going. And now, as part of the plea dealing that's going on, we are hoping. When does a bird sing? When does a bird sing?
Well, as long as the lower peons, they're
Yeah.
the ones that start singing because they don't want to go to jail. So they know the pressure's on. Well,
Yeah.
that's the benefit, is they're going to keep pointing the fingers upwards until they get to
Yeah.
the last person
I remember
who ordered it all.
I turned state's evidence on Blake many years ago when a power official in the British Columbia government said, "I'm going to jail because I'm dealing with illegal contraband of Indian warheads, and that is a crime." But I was innocent because I myself was an Indian. They forgot that in their plan. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, that is just, so that's the idea, right? Squeeze the little guy. And hopefully, we can start knocking this tree down, this tree of corruption, as we work our way up the totem of deception, the totem of graft, and see some justice with some of this stuff. So I, for one, am extremely happy to hear about these convictions and the fact that these guys are willing to talk. He's prepared. Apparently, one of them is prepared to go, "Okay, I did. When does a bird sing? When it's captured and put in a little cage."
Well, hopefully they'll blow open all the deep state hidden money pots all over the place.
To the extent, yeah. I mean, let's follow the money,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of this going on. There's a lot of research going into these riots in LA. Who's funding them? The FBI is on it. Department of Justice expressed interest in it. The president has said, we want to see who's financing these things. We want to see it all. We want it all. We want it now. Okay,
James, this is those mountains in the distance. That's the Olympic Mountains in the distance from Metchosin, which is an area part of Victoria on Vancouver Island. So it's not Alcatraz 2, but there is a prison not too far from up there called William Head, which we jokingly call in Canada Club Fed.
Club Fed, William Head. It's a federal prison here in British Columbia. I've been there not as an inmate. I was a former prison guard myself, as a matter of fact, jail guard, but not at that particular institution, just at the local constabulary level. Just think of me as Barney Fife and Otis. Otis, see yourself out. You're okay. Just finish, sober up, see yourself out in the morning, Otis. But anyway, here we go. The next headline, Sue, I want you to bring in is entitled Trump Bond Compared. This, again, is another example of the dual justice situation. They're kind of the disparate of the unequal administration of justice, not only in America, but also here in Canada, where you got Tamara Lich facing up to 10 years in prison for, quote, an official mischief charge, criminal mischief, which is not a statutory. We don't have statutory crime levels. We don't break them down between statutory misdemeanors here in Canada, but it's just a minor thing. Okay. In Canada, a mischief is like you drew a picture of a wee-wee on a sidewalk. Yeah. That, my dear friend, is a crime it's a misdemeanor crime of causing some trouble. It's a mischief. So Floyd the body. Oh, Andy, do you think Opie needs a haircut? Okay, yeah, we love Floyd the barber. All right, here we go. So this really sets it up. I mean, this is just crazy. Here's the guy, our guy caught. Donald Trump's bail, the bond has been set at $454 million. They reduced it to $175 million. I mean, these figures $500 million. So we're going to go $500 million. Round it up. Vance Luther Bolther's bail bond is set at $5 million for killing two people. $5 million versus $454 million. Do you see how corrupt the justice system is? I mean, there's no equitable. And this guy's a millionaire. Let's keep in mind that Bowler's not some, with a hole in his shoe and the flap going because the shoes, the glue, that bond has broken. Okay, this guy's a millionaire himself. Okay, what's the squeaky sound? It's his squeaky shoe. This guy's squeaky shoe. So anyway, this is the whole thing, Blake. We love Matthew Petty, but $454 million compared with $5 million, and the guy kills two people. And what did Trump do? Annoyed a bunch of Democrats.
Well, let's go, but look at the ridiculousness. They've got people being arrested off the streets dealing death drugs like fentanyl who
Yeah.
are arrested, and then they're bailed out the next day. I mean,
Yeah.
they're been dumped on the street over and over and over again. So, we see that in both sides of the border. It just seems like these crazy judges some of them are obviously ultra political, and that's the unfairness. So,
Holy smokes. I love our peanut gallery. Liberal heroes, you are adorable. Okay, this was kind of interesting. This is General Flynn stat. It's called Iran flight. Iran flight. Check this, Blake. We think something may be up in Iran. This was like this morning, I think I ran across this one. This is a little more recent than some of the other stuff I'm showing that dates back to Friday because, we had the week off or whatever. But anyway, the wonderful General Mike Flynn. Attention, an overnight development. Iranian airspace was officially closed, and yet a 747 took off from Tehran International. Then immediately it went dark. Destination unknown. So what? When a corrupt, authoritarian, tyrannical regime dies, among the first actions for those leaders and their families who have gotten rich off the backs and the persecution of their own people, they move to alternative palaces, dachas, or homes. This plane has a good chance of having a lot of Gucci and convertible currency on board. Assad, can you see us yet? And there's the traffic, and there's the one little plane in red, and there it goes, taking off 747. So, and there's the following it along, because you can track these aircraft all over the place. One plane. What do you think that one plane? Any ideas? Any intuition?
well, there's a story breaking in Canada. Started
What?
yesterday, I believe it saw that a number of the high-ranking Iranian regime power brokers are trying to get asylum in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Okay,
you can
that
look
makes
that
sense.
up. That's coming. That's breaking out this on Sunday. So that flight might have went dark, and it could be in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So, but we'll have to see. We have a very strong Persian community here in British Columbia and in Canada, but really a big one here that were all people that escaped Iran during the '79 revolution. And but very much would love to see the Iranian mullahs disappear for good.
Well, I mean,
But I don't think they would be good here. We don't want them here. We have a history of allowing bad people from bad governments to hide out in Canada since World War II.
Yeah.
did you see the one where the guys? I can just see these mullahs. They're now in Canada. They're working at what do we call it?
7-Eleven?
No, Tim Hortons. They're at
Tim
Hortons.
Hortons.
We got them at Tim Hortons. It's Canada. What the fuck, man? It's
We call it Tim Mullahs.
No, what did we call it? Timmigrants. Timmigrants. They're at the Timmigrant. We got Timmigrants. So you're driving. The guy's at the drive-through window. Have you seen this clip? And the East Indian guy can't understand his English, so the guy's just blowing up. He's getting around. I'll see if I can find it. Tim Hortons shouting. Tim Hortons.
Oh, the guy having a meltdown at the
Yeah.
I've seen that right at he gets out and
Yeah,
he went nuts.
well, because he can't get his order. Yeah, here it is. Okay,
Can't get his double properly made. Yeah.
Okay, so the guy, what's happening here is the guy's losing it because the guy can't understand.
Oh yeah, he loses.
Anyone
his
who's
shit.
ever tried to order from a Tim Sing Hortons or any drive-through in the Vancouver area knows this man's pain. Fluent and understandable English should be a mandatory prerequisite for any job in Canada, but most definitely in the service industry. Am I right? Frozen Bell writes, so let's make it big. Let's go and let's see how they get on.
You've had too much espresso.
All I wanted was a Pepsi. Just one Pepsi. All I wanted. Pepsi.
So what's happening? I don't know if you can hear it at all, but what he's yelling about? He wants a double, and he's trying to explain to presumably one of our newcomers. Perhaps he even come over as one of our mullahs. We're now working at immigrants. But I'm going to tell you something, boys and girls. He's all frustrated. The guy can't hear anything. I mean, he can't understand English. And so the guy's just frustrated. Maybe he's got to go to a job. You know, he looks like a working guy in his pickup. I've been boycotting a number of businesses due to questionable hiring practices. Yeah. Who the hell still goes to Tim Hortons? I got to tell you, man. A lot of people love their Timmy Ho's, and we got problems. Okay, hang on. I got a public health warning for you. Who the hell goes to Tim Hortons? I'm going to tell you, mister. Boy, oh boy. Okay, here we go. Hang on. It's so important that we got this. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Now, this item dates from June 14th. June 14th. Okay. And what do we got here? Let's take a look so we can all learn. Steven Tyler, I like him. He rocks, right? Steven Tyler, Aerosmith. If you want to cut hepatitis and fecal matter from your diet, experts will tell you should cut immigrants out of your life entirely. Tim Hortons been around a long time without incident. I wonder what's changed over the year. Health Unit warns of potential hepatitis exposure at a Barrie restaurant, Barrie, Ontario, Canada. China. Public health officials say food handler working at Tim Hortons location at 181 Livingston has been identified as a confirmed case. You know what this means? I'm going to spell it out for you, and I don't like to because I know you're sensitive, especially liberal heroes. But I'm going to tell you. Yeah, poo-poo fingers. Yeah, poo-poo fingers. And when you got poo-poo fingers and you put that in your Timbits, you can risk getting hepatitis.
It's peanut butter. It's peanut butter, I swear.
Oh, so you don't want that. And Kimba, I worry for you. You're a beautiful little girl. You're like 110 pounds soaking wet. What the hell are you doing playing around with dangerous food? Each one of them little Timbits, those little Timmigrants, they're like a time bomb. Okay? You're putting that in you, and it could blow you up intestinally. I actually had 10 pack of Timbits yesterday. They gave me 25. I think they made too much of the Timbits for Father's Day. Prepare to eat that at your own risk. At your own risk. Wow. Okay. So anyway, yeah. So have you ever been to?
I might cough up a hairball over all that.
Okay. Let's do personal anecdotes. Blake, any anecdotes dealing with somebody on a helpline or dealing with a customer, you're trying to get something and they don't speak the language? And have you ever been frustrated, anything like that? Maybe it didn't happen to you. Let us know if you did. I'd be interested in hearing.
Well, I've had my few episodes in some of these drive-thrus, but yeah, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, there's no training. This is the part of Canada, 5 million people you bring in on work visas. And essentially they're not citizens. They're here to cut the costs of the operator and essentially a form of slave labor. Because they're getting them for next to nothing. And but you're right. I mean, there's health issues that aren't being responded to. There's dangers on our highways right now because half the truckers out there have little or no skill on driving big rigs. That's why they're rolling, they're crashing everywhere. Ooh, people are dying.
Yeah.
And so this is it's a major problem. It's like, let's dump the third world on the streets here with no training, no wheels, no training. And let's cause carnage. And it's everywhere. It's restaurants, stores, trucks, everything.
Just do a search on X and just put in Vancouver semi-truck. And then I think you'll see the clip. Remember the guy passes on the inside and he whips around and of course.
Oh, in Yale, or I saw where he rolls the truck right in front of him.
Yeah.
Where was that?
So that's in Vancouver. I think they
Princeton Highway.
But I think the headline. I think the headline wrote Vancouver. So I think the word Vancouver was in the. If you go Vancouver semi-truck roll, you'll get a truck driver. You know. Anyway, if you can find it, the clip is kind of interesting. There was just another one in another part of the country. Another rig went flying off the road. People were injured. It's very common. Interestingly enough, the incredible Donald John Trump, our president, here from a 50 for state
Oh.
reporting.
I posted.
But you got now. What's happened? What do you get?
Nothing. I posted.
You're getting active, aren't you? So anyway, the whole thing is he's made it a law now. They're trying to get this law passed where you gotta, if you're going to be driving truck in the United States, you better be speaking English. And I have a friend. He's a libertarian hero, similar to liberal here, but a libertarian. And his name's Marty, and he's in Oregon. He's here with us today, Marty, Oregon. Marty told me, he said, "Yeah, no, man, it just makes sense. It's common sense. You want it, you have to be able to have that because it makes it safer for everybody."
Yeah.
But here's the one that we're talking about. This went
Oh,
down.
you got to go to the back to the beginning.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
scroll it
There he
back.
goes. Passing on a double lane in a highway.
Kill this guy. Okay, we don't want it. We don't want to get ticketed. And I want you to play it again. We all focus. Okay, there he goes. He was in one lane. Now he comes back to the other. He knows he belongs to the other side of the road, maybe. And down he goes.
I
And
know exactly where he was because
You
I've
know
driven that
where
road
that-
lots. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
Devil's Gate Drive.
he's right up above.
on the wrong
He's just
side of the
above
road.
on the Similkameen on Hope Princeton Highway 3.
Yeah.
So
I have mining claims near there.
now I don't know who the identity. I don't know if they've released the identity of this driver yet. I don't have any further follow up to it. But the way that's driving, the
Well, what about us
irresponsible
this
nature.
morning? The cement truck
Yeah,
coming in at a full around a sharp corner merge, short
merging
merge,
into the highway,
speeding onto the and we had
speeding
no
on the off ramp.
onto the highway,
Yeah.
but we had no way to.
We were parallel with him.
Yeah, he just was going to crash into us. I had to totally brake to let him merge.
Yeah.
On a nutter.
You got to watch out for the Amazon delivery trucks too, because they're all vans. They're
Yeah, they a lot of
a little
undercovers down there.
chaotic.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy out there. So, I mean, you want to have this, and I've seen the clips. It's kind of comedic, they're showing Bangkok or something, and there's no lanes in there. It's just kind of first come, first serve, and shit's flying left, right, and center. And God knows how nobody gets killed on a daily basis. Maybe the fuck they do. I don't know. I don't live there. I'm here in China. I don't know nothing. Okay? Quote. There you go. Matthew Petty quote. I don't know nothing. What do I know? Okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's a little crazy that way. But Tim Hortons, health standards, safety standards, all this sort of thing. I mean, the standards should be met, but there doesn't seem to be any. Okay. We did the shooter. Let's go to Dominic LeBlanc being
G7.
He's at the G7. Tell us what the G7 all about, Blake. What are the boys and girls gathered around? What kind of activity is that?
Well, the G7 and top leaders including Donald J. Trump just arrived into Calgary, Alberta, going to Kananaskis to meet the beginning of the major summit. And I think this is a fantastic photo that was snapped out from the video of Dominic LeBlanc, who is basically one of Carney's right-hand men.
Yes.
If you look at him, this is Trump coming off the plane. He's shaking hands with everybody down the line. He just finished shaking hands with Dominic, and now he's talking to the U.S. ambassador, who is right next to him. And LeBlanc looks like he just met Taylor Swift.
Yes. Absolutely. Fandom.
He's fanboy all over. So that's the big thing blowing all over last night in Canada is we've got a fanboy. I think we may have a liberal MAGA supporter.
I see it.
And which he's sure helping me in my theory of that Carney is working with Trump to help Canada become part of the new economic union.
Okay, now listen, we got trouble out here on the internet. I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but this Blake McKenzie guy, this Blake McKenzie kid, we've seen that fanboy look before. Oh, yeah. Trudeau at the Taylor Swift. Can you show? Is it got his Swifty band?
You got to scroll that. Yeah. Go,
you got to show.
If you click on the photo. Yeah. He's got his Swifty bracelets on. He's sharing them with 13 and 14-year-olds, having a.
Well, let's face it. He's got the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old girl. But the thing is when the whole idea with this Minister Carney's pal is I believe he wanted to have a signed Make America Great Again hat, which I thought was adorable and charming at the same time. So
Well, and Dominic was running around not even that long ago with his elbows up and just going on about nothing with following Carney's lead. So
words
the
there.
story was elbows up for real, or was just another liberal election bullshit that they ran to get to win, which should have been an annihilation for
Yeah.
their party, survived through lying to people once again that they're really not really elbows up as they like to claim. They're
No, I don't
fanboys.
think so yeah, and in fact, there was a clip of Carney greeting Trump and in glowing terms saying this man is the leader of the free world. He's doing a great job. Just praising Trump to the, and of course, all those idiot liberals in Canada. And we're talking big L liberals, not little L, although they're usually the same cats. But there is a distinction. Blake, do you want to tell our American friends the difference between a big L liberal and a little L liberal?
Oh boy, here I don't know. I think a little L liberal here. The big L liberals are basically the people that were brought in under Trudeau Senior, who became were basically socialists for the NDP side, and he was able to bring in that socialist viewpoint into the liberals, which was not a traditional classic liberal viewpoint.
Yeah.
And small L liberals are still mixed with the classic liberal side. Most of them have defected to the Conservative Party or the People's, what do you call them? The PC.
See, and of course, within the context of a traditional sense, a big L liberal is the official Liberal Party of Canada, as being distinct from somebody that holds, quote, social or left-wing views, a liberal in that sense. Just as we have large C conservatives in Canada, meaning you're a large C conservative part of the Conservative Party of Canada supporting the Conservative Party of Canada. I am a little C conservative. I am conservative, but I don't support the big C, even though much of what they say aligns with what I want. But there's still problems within there. Too often, they simply become a Canadianized version of the American Rhino Republic. And so they're conservative in name only, in political affiliation only, and not within the internalized values that they want to express.
And the provinces play a big side of that because there's competition between each other there.
Yeah, and fundamentally so.
There's you were talking about Carney earlier. If you can look him up, there's memes everywhere showing him being who's the character from The Simpsons, who the old guy,
Mr. Burns.
The creepy guy who ran the nuclear power plant.
It's Mr. Burns, because he's hunched.
He looks like Carney, and now everybody's inserting his picture everywhere. He's got handshake.
Okay, you're okay. So Sue will look up the word Carney posture, because people are talking about how he's kind of hunched over. He may have early signs of osteoporosis. I don't know how old this Carney guy.
He's got banker shoulders.
All these idiots are younger than me nowadays. Okay, let's take a look at this guy.
There he is.
Okay. So he's kind of got the hunch thing, the neck extended outward.
Somebody showing a picture of Carney coming into Alberta yesterday with Daniel Smith shaking his hand, and they've superimposed him over top of Carney.
I like this. Mark Carney is Mr. Burns. What you see, you can't unsee it. Truer words never been spoken. I mean, that's kind of funny. Oh, hello, Simpson. And he had his helper boy. What was those Smithies? Yeah, he had his little helper boy. That was kind of cute. Anyway, just crazy. It's all out there. But Blake, what do you expect to see come out of this G7? What are the big talking points? What would you like to see, and what do you expect to see? Not the same thing.
I want to hear the big plan that Carney and Trump were going to announce just at the beginning of the G7. So that could be rolling out at any time. I have to say, though, what was really spectacular is Canada was the safest it's ever been when Trump landed into Calgary yesterday. With a massive Osprey Marines flying their helicopters in formation.
Calgary and go Osprey.
And people were posting up yesterday showing all these Marines getting out, and somebody they were saying, it's like, oh, look, Canada's being liberated.
Yeah, it finally happened. Oh my God, thank God the Marines are here. And if you haven't guessed it by now, you're new around here. Ladies and gentlemen, a relatively new channel. I think we're just entering into our second month pretty quick here. But we like it to get a thumbs up, put a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. If we're kind of talking points that you find interesting, if we're delivering in a way that's somewhat appealing to you, then, we would love that kind of support. Okay, here we go. We're going to got the film footage of the president.
Look at them all taking off.
As big as we can. So look at that gorgeous scene.
I love the sound of freedom in the morning.
Oh my God, like beautifully said. Those ospreys look amazing.
Yeah.
So I believe that's Marine One we're seeing. I believe the president flew on Air Force One for DC, leaves Air Force One, aboards Marine One, and then gets the escort with the Osprey.
Yeah, because Kananaskis is basically a ski village in the Rocky Mountains, not too far away.
Yeah.
So they're probably safer flying him. And it's also a show of force. He didn't have to fly. They could have had him on the ground. But there was all the lunatics that decided what would he call them? The copycatters who are trying to jump on the No Kings crap in Canada, just like the BLM thing. They were doing it here as well. And they were shutting down streets in Calgary. So they probably thought, this is a way to do it. I'll fly over them. But there's never a better way of show of force and power than fly with the Marines to where you're headed. And I think that's going to be a sign out of G7. No more bullshit. We're changing things. The new cowboy in town, new sheriff in town, and this is the way the world's going to work now.
I like this comment from Pat's Radio. He says, I might be able to comprehend some socialist ideals if we actually champion a vibrant and robust economy. Maybe. But I think the two are mutually exclusive.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do not believe you can have socialist ideals that will transform or transfer to a vibrant and robust economy. The two are at conflict with one another.
Yeah.
I can see Pat saying that if we have a vibrant, rich, wealthy, robust, healthy government, not huge government bureaucracy. Then nobody should be poor. Nobody should be.
Oh, I agree with that.
Everyone should be cared for.
Yeah, of course. The safety net would be there. But you've got to have a solid economic basis created through strong, rational social policies that deal with the public, the social sphere, so that people are going to work. If you're breaking laws, there's accountability there. There's responsibility. Dare I say, ask not what China can do for you, but rather, what can you do for your China now? God, what a speech. That's inspiring. I'm so freaking inspiring for you today, people. That's great. Yeah.
Well, socialism has an issue, and the big issue is it steps on the neck of a natural ability for people to wish to donate and support and help people. It is state enforced. That's a big difference. You're saying, I'm taking money out of your wallet to give to this other person. What? That is not a natural order to allow people to donate out of the goodness of their hearts. It's a government takeover of people, of charity. Charity used to be a thing people would do out of their goodness of their hearts. And that is better. And most liberals are supposed to believe that man is inherently good. It's actually the conservatives that believe in a value that man is inherently evil.
Yeah,
so liberals, why don't you trust people to donate out of the goodness of their hearts, not by state-sanctioned force? That's the difference between socialism and freedom.
And I think when you have an infrastructure, and infrastructures plural, that support prosperity and initiative and a way to make truly your country, wherever it may be, great, is by having manufacturing in your country. Don't ship it off to save a buck. Oh, to save a lousy buck. Oh, mister, well, I'm not giving bonuses out this year. What? Well, I thought it would save, for a lousy buck and this family here. Well, our people put our hearts into it. It's just hurtful. Well, I'm sorry, that's how I feel. Do you want me to take them out to the shitter, Clark? It's just horrible. So, but you want to have, the responsibility in society and have justice flow throughout the land, and then America can be great. But things were infiltrated, and there were excess, there were abuses, and things had to be done equitably. And there was corruption on every side of the aisle. You sow a wind, you reap the whirlwind, and Republicans have as much to answer for as Democrats when it comes to that. You wouldn't have to have a civil rights movement if equal access and opportunity had been provided for the poorer Black folks in the South, doing away with Jim Crow and all that, regardless of whether Jim Crow was a Democrat Party principle or whatever. It was seen as the white man's problem, the white man's burden in dealing with the Black citizens of the United States. So, so there was a bubbling over, and then the bullshit in Vietnam. If they had played Vietnam properly, Lyndon B. Johnson, I'm talking to you, then that would have been a lot better. And McNamara later came clean about it, said, yeah, kind of, there was a lot of shit we made up. And we have regrets with some of our programs that we did, because nothing good came out of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, 12:56 in the afternoon. We got 4 more minutes to go down. I think it's a really good show. I've covered all the main points I wanted to cover today. Blake, anything else you want to add to the discussion before we go? Do we get you tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be around tomorrow, and looking forward to our first full day to catch up on what's happening in the G7, because I think, the top world leaders are there to figure out what the hell is happening in our world. So love to do a bit more on the countdown to destruction. Talk about a Megadeth song, or if we can do 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden, would be great music right now. With seems like war is everywhere, and it seems to be expanding. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I can maybe we'll play "Give Peace a Chance" by John Lennon. But I understand. Listen, metalheads, go play Blake's recommendations. Democrats think we're too stupid to even get an ID. Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it? Like, I don't know, Danny, I don't know if you're African American, you're Black guy, I don't know. But I mean, Democrats think that the poor Black people are too stupid to even get an ID. I mean, it's nonsensical. That's absolutely nonsensical.
It's racist.
Because clearly, it's racist. It is under, I mean, you don't even have to extend your imagination too far to believe that that's a racist opinion. Clearly, you had to have ID at Blockbuster back in the day. Can I see your ID to rent out?
They would make you a Blockbuster ID.
Hey, you had this. I got my Blockbuster card. Well, I bet you those are worth a fair penny now.
That's right. There's still one in Oregon, apparently, in some small town. Still,
so one's got the last Blockbuster on the planet with the blue and yellow, the blue and gold. How beautiful!
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, for my partner, not that kind of partner. No, happy Pride. But we're just doing it.
Not like there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, man, hi. Anyway, but give us a thumbs up, and thanks everybody for tuning in and watching another episode. We're going to be back 12 Pacific tomorrow, 3 o'clock Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we're on for a longer edition of the program that starts at 3, all time Pacific. And then Thursday, Friday, we're back at the 12 noon time. So spend your lunch breaks with us, get a ham sandwich or something, and just chunk on it and go, as we're telling you the voice that you got to learn from. Thank you, everybody. On behalf of Blake and I, we love you. Peace, love, bye.
Bye-bye.